What you see here is a sword, a Viking sword, made by Deltine, the Italian sword maker. The number of this sword, which is discontinued by Deltine, I mean, they do not offer it anymore as far as I know. This Viking sword is DT2102 2102 Viking sword. It is based on a model which was inspired by a model which was found in Denmark, in a lake in Denmark, in the lake of Sortedam in 1883. It was found there, and Sortedam is located in Jutland, Denmark. And if you come and take a look at the hilt is cast in bronze, and completely in bronze, copper alloy. The original one actually is iron core, and on top of it we have copper alloy inserted. That's the major difference. Some people say that based on the very fact that the whole hilt is cast in one piece of bronze makes this weapon heavy. I agree, this weapon compared to other Deltine swords or other swords I handle is on the heavier side. But again, I believe if you have the right fitness level, you can even handle this sword. There are differences compared to the original one. Not only that the original one had an iron core, but the other differences are also because, you know, if you come here and take a look at the upper guard and the pommel, they're cast in one piece, and I believe this part, yes, and the lower guard, the handle and lower guard, are cast also in one piece. But if you go and take a look at the original ones, this one is a separate piece, this one is a separate piece, handle is a separate piece, this one. But in my opinion, this is not too bad, because at the end of the day, it's a reproduction sword, and this one, the handle, the looks of it and decorations resemble the one which was found in the lake. We need also to take this into consideration that the original one, the blade, actually, as far as I remember, the blade is now in 3 pieces, so one cannot tell what the blade looked like. So this is an inspiration, because Fulvio Deltine chose a blade for it which is, in his opinion, which is not wrong, resembles a Viking blade. Viking blades were mostly made of welded steel, as we know, and some of them, as we know, also used, as some of our colleagues found out, crucible steel, which was possibly a trade item, but mostly of welded steel, as we know, and they had a fuller. Here you see the sword, I mean the antique one, and the hilt of this sword from the National Museum of Denmark, so you can see how elaborate the hilt is. And you see the beauty of this hilt, and also the blade is made of patterned welded steel. Here I have another picture, possibly from the same sword, I believe, and it is provided on the site of University of Kiel in Germany, where they talk also about different types of swords, among them an elaborate discussion of the Viking swords, and this hilt you can also see there on the website of University of Kiel, associated to University of Kiel. And now here you see the handle of this sword, which is made by Deltine. To me, it has an appealing look, and I really liked this sword, the handle of this sword, the first time I saw it. As far as the different types of Viking sword handles are concerned, we should know that I think it was Dr. Petersen, yes, Dr. Jan Petersen, who in 1919 developed a classification of Viking sword hilts, of Viking swords in general, but mostly based on hilts, and he identified 28 different hilt types. You can imagine 28 different hilt types. As far as blade types of Viking swords are concerned, Alfred Geibig, who in 1992 made his classification, he basically identified 5 different blade types that were used during the Viking Age, and Viking swords had them. So 28 hilt types and 5 blade types, which makes quite a big variety. But at the same time, we should take this into consideration, that Viking sword blade types and the hilt types in general remain quite the same, and they were mostly, or at least that's what we think, as far as we handle them, they were mostly, people say, used for cutting, and also, of course, you cannot rule out that they were not used for thrusts. Every sword can be used for cutting and thrusting, but they were mainly used for cutting. I mentioned earlier that this sword is on the heavy side. The reason could be because of its handle, which is cast in two pieces of bronze, or solid bronze, copper alloy. The whole sword, for a one-handed sword, the sword weighs 1,786 grams, so this is quite on the heavy side, as you know. But again, we have also sword. I mean, you cannot only tell by the weight of it, but also of the balance of it and how it feels. I still like this sword. I admit you need to be a strong person to handle it for over an extended period of time. It weighs, as I said, 1,786 grams. The total length of the sword is 99 centimeters, and the length of the blade is 83 centimeters. So 99 is total length and 83 is the length of the blade. The blade at the base is 5.1 centimeter wide, and in the middle of the blade the width is 4.5. The blade is made of Chrome Vanadium steel, as Deltine uses for his swords, and has a coating for protection. Of course, once you use it for cutting, if you have it in a sharpened version, then it wears off. Also, when you use it as a blunt version for training or sparring or whatever. But I need to mention that, okay, of course, for cutting tests as well. I'm more interested in cutting tests and the sword properties and in action. So you need to be aware of that. But then again, taking care of all carbon blades or any of other blades is something we all need to do. Holding the handle of this Viking sword in my hand, I need to say that I feel it's very comfortable for me. It is quite, as I solid. I would not say it heavy, solid, but I have never problems with solid swords and so on. At the end, I would like to say that one of my areas of interest, or what I really like on European sword, I like different types of European swords, I admit, but Viking swords are an area which really fascinates me. I'm not only talking about reproduction, but in general, because of the way the hilts were made, because of the elaborate welded steel and also crucible steel which they imported, and all the work they have put into making the Viking sword, because they remind me of like the work which has been placed and put in making Persian blades, Iranian blades, or Japanese or Chinese blades. That's why I'm very, very interested in Viking swords. And I believe there are not many reproduction of Viking swords. The reason possibly is because the people who are interested in Viking era and doing sparring with them and training with them are possibly not as many as in people who are interested in Renaissance martial arts. So the market dictates always what type of swords remain in production and so on. But I need to say that I really like this blade, I like this sword, and also specifically the handle.